Happy Friday, everybody. Colin Harper, joined as always by Michael Kutch down in Florida. Mike, it's a bit rainy up here. How's it looking down there today for you?
Oh, it's very nice out currently, but we've been having this. We're kind of in that summer season where it's sunny most of the day, and then we'll just have a torrential storm for
You get
like
that big rain,
hours.
yeah, that big rain in the afternoon. That makes perfect
The four
sense. And
o'clock rainstorm.
if you guys aren't familiar with why Florida gets so many hurricanes, it's because in the winter, when I call the office down in Florida and they tell me how nice it is, it's karma coming to bite them around hurricane season. That's why that's why Florida gets so many hurricane seasons. It's all the folks that live down there telling us Northerners how nice it is in the wintertime. So just a fun, food for thought
Payback.
fact for the day.
Thank you for
Obviously,
that.
hurricanes are terrible, and yeah, hopefully you guys have a bit better season. It's been a rough couple years, I feel like, on the hurricane front down in South Florida. So hopefully it's a little bit better this year. I know that's when's the start of official start of hurricane season? Did it
I
start
think
already,
it
or is
already
it
started.
August? It
Did
might
it
have
already
already
start?
started. I can't remember. I think
Yeah,
so.
I
I
never
know it
know the
starts
exact date.
early.
Yeah, it
I know
might be
I
like
know yeah.
it's pretty long too, isn't it? Like from like June to October or November.
It's much longer than most people think. You know what the best part about doing this is that
We
we
have
have
internet
access
these
to
days.
yeah, we have internet. When is hurricane season? Let's find out, because now I'm
And,
just
and I,
curious
I
and I
think
really want
I
to
think
know.
the most storms end up coming in like August, September.
All right, well, we can fact check that too. We're fact checking today. So first fact check. You were real close, Mike. It's Thursday, June 1st to Thursday, November 30th is this year's hurricane season. And then let's find out what month most hurricanes occur in.
I'm gonna go with late August.
What, what month do most hurricanes occur in? The peak of Atlantic hurricane season is September 10th, with the most activity occurring between mid-August and mid-October. And that's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.gov. So I feel like that's a pretty accurate source. We'll hope, but I think that's good.
Are,
So
are, are we
look
done
at
with
that.
the
We all
weather
learned.
segment for today?
Well, I think we're done with the entire Friday Live. I think we've all
I,
learned plenty for today. Probably
I
more
think we
engaging
just
than some of our.
we just have to hit on traffic now before we go.
And traffic's looking pretty light outside today on our commute home from the office early this Friday. I hope everyone else is taking a bit of an early Friday. We're full on in the swing of summer here. I know. I think a lot of our clients are feeling it. We're feeling it. Things have kind of slowed down for the first time. It feels like in years, really. At least for the rest of the world, my life's a bit chaotic, but I think for the most part, I get a sense that we've really started to slow down a little bit and enjoy the summer, enjoy the weather, enjoy being outside. And there's a lot of great community events up here by me. Mike, I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff going on down by you too. Um, I would say, bridging from that and kind of the slowing trend of people stepping back, enjoying family, things along those lines. Mike, is the market slowing down, or what does it look like in the financial world for us this week? And then after we touch on that, I'll talk a little bit about a topic we posted on the Facebook page last week. It was about, is a foundation right for you? And I'm going to go with, spoiler alert, probably not, but there's some much easier ways to donate and gift money that I'll touch on briefly here for our topic. I'm feeling generous today, so that's what we're going to go with. Mike, take us away. What's it looking like out there? Are we slowing down, speeding up, going sideways? Who
Well, before we
knows?
hit on that, you want to hit on my disclosures real quick?
Well, if you haven't figured it out already, if you're taking advice from these two talking heads on Friday Live, you should probably reevaluate your life priorities. But nothing we say is a specific recommendation. We are happy to meet with you one-on-one if you have questions about your specific concerns. But these are just our general thoughts, observations, good, bad, or indifferent. It's just what we see going on. So, Mike, take it away.
So, is the market going up or down currently? Is the question. I need a more specific time frame. If you're looking at yesterday, it was a pretty mixed bag. Technology,
Yeah.
and I haven't said this too much this year. actually for the entire week, technology has outperformed or underperformed the rest of the market. So
way to
maybe
go,
we're seeing.
technology. Stepping up to the plate. Took us long enough,
Oh,
huh?
tech had a bad day yesterday, and it kind of came on the heels of Tesla had a mediocre earnings report and Netflix had a mediocre earnings report. Now, both of the current quarters were pretty decent. I think Netflix, their problem was third quarter guidance, and Tesla was more about concerns about their margin pressure. And then Taiwan Semi also came out prior to yesterday, and there was some concerns with that, how AI is adding to it, but maybe not what people expected. And some of their main components of their business are a little weaker. You haven't seen everything bottom yet. But overall, the market's been moving higher. But it is nice to see that broadening out. Technology really needed to take a breather. The NASDAQ and the S&P are pretty stretched above some of those key moving average. And usually when you get too stretched, it's like a rubber band. It's got to come back a little bit. So overall, earnings have been pretty decent. The bank earnings have been good, especially in those large mega cap banks. The regionals have been hanging in there. We haven't really gotten too much outside of there. I just mentioned some of the tech related. Industrials have been okay, but the bar is pretty low for the current quarter. I think analysts were anticipating a 7% decline or so for the quarter. So that would mark the third consecutive quarterly decline in earnings. So the bar is a little low on this one. So you might see companies come in and beat. The next two quarters will be, especially fourth quarter, expectations are pretty high. So whether they live up to that or not, next week will be a big one. We'll get some of those mega cap tech stocks. I think Microsoft, Google might be on Tuesday. I think we'll get Meta and maybe Amazon later in the week. And I don't think Apple's in that same mix, but they'll really have to live up to the stock performance that we've seen so far year to date. A lot of that good news is probably priced in, so you'll have to see a nice beat for them to sustain that rally. And then we'll also get the Fed meeting. So that'll be Tuesday and a Wednesday. You'll hear from Powell on Wednesday afternoon. It's pretty much consensus that we'll get a 25 basis point increase. It's just going to be about the language going forward. There's no meeting in August, so the next one will be September. But I think, I believe Jackson Hole Summit is in August, so we'll hear from him again there. So whether I really don't think he's going to say, this is the final rate hike and then we're done, but it'll really be around the language. As we get deeper into the fall, those year-over-year comparisons are going to be less favorable. I think June of 2022 was kind of the high water mark for monthly inflation numbers. So the bar is going to be it's going to be much tougher going from where it's hard to even think about where we started. 9%, going from 9% to 3% on the headline number is going to be easier than going from the 3 to 2 or the 4 to 2, depending on if you're looking at core.
No, that makes sense.
And then we'll also get the Fed's preferred measure of inflation next week, the core PCE deflator. I think that'll come out on Friday.
And that's Mike with finance. We're going to send it over to Carl with sports now.
It looks like a big financial blurt there.
Well, it looks like Carl's actually, due to budget constraints, we're not going to have a sports segment this Friday live. But no, I think that's right. A lot of the same stories. Tech's interesting that we're seeing some resurgence there, but we've been hanging on the Fed for quite some time. Why change anything up now? I think that'll be interesting in the coming months to continue watching that. But overall, I don't think our long-term planning has changed much in our internal talks here. I don't think there's been, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember any big, allocation swings or anything really crazy going on our end. Certainly nothing like 2022, anything like that. I think more of taking a long-term focus, see how this whole thing plays out.
Yeah, just riding up the uptrend for the time being and keeping an eye on the economic data to see if it changes. So far, it's hanging in there pretty decent, especially the employment situation. There is some weakness out there, like existing home sales aren't doing that great. They had a miss this week. Retail sales also had a miss, but they're still positive. We had that pretty long stretch, multi-months of negative readings, but the past 2 have been positive. So the consumer is hanging in there overall. And so as long as they keep their job, and actually they're starting, the average American who works is starting to see real wage growth where what they're receiving is above the inflation number. So that could just continue to add to spending power if that margin becomes larger.
Very cool. Well, I did promise some thoughts on for our charitably inclined folks listening to this little live video feed here. Posted an article on the Facebook page, last week about, hey, is a foundation right for you? And kind of the short story without reading it is foundations are very cool, and there's not much that can accomplish what a foundation can. However, the administration and setup and ongoing management of a foundation becomes extremely tedious and burdensome. So I would say, unless you're dealing with significant sums of money, a personal foundation doesn't make sense for most folks. However, there's a lot of great ways to be able to gift money, either during your lifetime or at your passing, that are a little bit easier, a little bit less smaller barriers to entry, and certainly don't need the really, really large pools of resources. So here's a short story. I would say if you are charitably inclined and you're thinking about creating, a bucket of money. So I've got a bucket of money over here, we'll call it X dollars, and we would like this to fund charitable interests for, a number of years during my lifetime. Maybe when I'm not here, my kids are going to continue funding those charitable interests out of that pot of money. But really, you can create something that's ongoing as long as you would like it to, and managed by yourself, members of your family, things like that. And that idea is called a donor advised fund. So one of the benefits to the donor advised fund is it's extremely easy to set up. It's very flexible in what, nonprofits or charities you would like to send funds to. The schedule of that is flexible. The amount is flexible. The timing of it, whether you want to give it over a certain amount of years or things along those lines. But you can also have, the benefits of those charitable contributions from the tax saving side of it right away, but still be able to continue giving gifts for a long period of time. So, where we've seen it work very well is maybe you have a stock or a mutual fund or something that has a very low cost basis, and you don't necessarily need that asset for, you, and you're really interested in that charitable side and leaving a legacy. You can end up gifting that appreciated asset into a donor advised fund, taking a deduction on it, and then you don't have to worry about realizing those capital gains either. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with donor advised funds if you're charitably inclined and you have a pot of money or maybe a couple investments that you don't plan on keeping or gifting to your kids or, the next generation. So just some quick thoughts there about donor advised funds. That's all I got today. It's the middle of the summer. Everybody's checked out. And I would encourage all of you, if the weather's nice where you're listening and you can get outside and spend some time with your family, don't get stuck in the rat race, right? Make sure you take time to step back and enjoy life with the ones that are close to you, the ones you love. That's my parting wisdom for the day. Now that I have a mustache and I'm a father of 2, I'm allowed to. I'm just so wise now. I'm allowed to just throw all this wisdom out. It's free. You're welcome. Well, Mike, as always, thanks for spending some time with me, catching up. I've been teasing about, an exciting announcement for quite some time on this thing for all the listeners. I'd say probably the next week or two, we'll be able to disclose what we've been working on hard in the background here, and we're very excited about it. So in the meantime, everybody stay safe, have a great summer, enjoy the weather out there, get out and do something for somebody else this weekend. Thanks, Mike.
Have a good weekend.